Hi, welcome to my presentation. Today I'll be talking about decision making in the neutral zone and its impact on possession value. In today's game of hockey, every single choice that a player makes can have a great impact on the outcome. In this research, we try to analyze the impact that each different decision a player makes to start the possession can have on the value of the possession. Hopefully we'll be able to learn how to optimize the possession value to allow greater success. This research will focus on possessions that start in the neutral zone. Usually these possessions are unstructured and have high pressure from the opposition. Usually there will be about 90 or so possessions in the neutral zone each game, so knowing how to optimize your strategy in each possession can allow for great results. In order to compare different strategies, we first need to be able to value each possession. To do so, we're going to use two metrics. The first one will be the total cumulative expected goals that possession generates, and the second metric will be the total time that the possession takes. When it comes to looking at the different actions that the players took, there were many different actions. We decided to take the four most common ones in order to have enough data points. The four main ones are passing the puck, carrying the puck, protecting the puck, or making an entry into the offensive zone. The dataset used for this research was provided by SportLogic and contained 156 games of the 2023-2024 SHL season. In total, there were over 500,000 total events that were tracked. One thing to note that's important is the coordinate system that was used. So as we can see, this is the neutral zone, and the coordinate system has the defensive blue line at x equals -25, the offensive blue line at +25, and then the boards sit at y equals 42.5 and -42.5. These will be important to remember when you see the plots on the next slides. In order to start the research, we needed to clean up the data in a way to make it processable. To start, we separated the dataset into each possession, and then filtered it to ones that started in the neutral zone. Once that was done, we were able to track the total expected goals of each possession and the time of possession. The starting location of each possession was also tracked, and then we grouped them based on which action was taken to start the possession. To start, I wanted to compare the average expected goals and average time of possession of each action compared to all events. So to start, this table on the left will show the average expected goals for all events, for passing the puck, carrying the puck, protecting, and entering the zone. In this bottom row, we can see how it changed compared to the average possession. We can see that passing the puck and protecting the puck reduce the average expected goals of your possession, while carrying the puck and attempting to enter the zone more than double your average expected goals. A similar table on the right shows the average time of possession, again for all events, compared to each action taken. We sort of see different results over here, where passing the puck will increase your average time of possession, whereas all other events will decrease it. One interesting thing to note is that there's an inverse relationship between expected goals and time of possession. So you can see here along the x-axis we have the time of each possession, and on the y-axis we have the expected goals. This is split into the four different actions that we're looking at. We have passing, carrying, protecting the puck, and entering the zone. We can see the same sort of pattern for all of them, that possessions that last longer and longer typically have low expected goals, whereas you'll see this spike for very short possessions that have very high expected goals. This can lead to somewhat of a dilemma for teams where there's not one action that you can take to maximize both of these metrics. You have to pick and choose. Do you want to have high expected goals, or do you want to control the game with time of possession? The next thing that I wanted to look into was whether or not the location that you start your possession has an impact on the average time of possession. So in this, you can see the two charts below. The one on the left shows the average time of possession if you pass the puck based on the location that the possession starts. And the one on the right is if you carry the puck instead. In both cases, there's no real significant impact. You can see for passing the puck, it's pretty much even everywhere, and for carrying the puck, there's no real trend. On the other hand, expected goals does show some clear trends for passing the puck and carrying the puck. As we can see, for passing the puck, we get some higher values the closer you are to your own blue line. As you get closer to the offensive blue line, this average expected goals decreases. The opposite can be said for carrying the puck, where you get some low values trying to carry the puck from your blue line, but as you get closer and closer to the offensive blue line, the average expected goals increases. This can lead to some interesting strategies for teams, where players can pass the puck more often when they're closer to the defensive blue line, but as they get closer to the offensive blue line, they should attempt to carry the puck in order to increase their expected goals. There's some more research that can be done in this field and sort of extend what I've done here. One thing I would really like to look into is some analysis on the direction of the event that should be taken. For example, if a player decides to pass the puck, where should they pass it? Should they pass it left, right, forwards, backwards, so on? I think that could provide some really interesting results and help players make reads and decide where to look when they get the puck in the neutral zone. Another big thing that wasn't included in this research was the impact of dumping in the puck. The way that this was done, the action of dumping in the puck would have zero value on the possession because it's basically giving the puck to the opponent. However, we know that you can provide some good pressure and get the puck back. So I think that doing some more analysis on if you dump in the puck, how does it affect the value of your next possessions? I think there might be some good results to find in there. And finally, I think that if you look at the player position, you might find some changes as well. For example, defensemen might be better at passing the puck, or forwards might be better at carrying the puck. So you might have some better strategy based on your player's position. To summarize, the decision that a player makes to start their possession in the neutral zone has a great impact on the value of the possession. As we've seen, you can increase your time of possession or your expected goals on average by a large amount. The location that you start your possession can also have a very big effect on what you should do. As we've seen, you can pass the puck closer to your blue line and gain expected goals, or you could carry the puck closer to the opponent's blue line and gain your expected goals. By doing this throughout the course of the entire game, you can slightly increase the value of each of your possessions and lead to success. That is all. Thank you for watching.
Thanks. Any questions for Ethan?
Hi, thanks for the talk. I have a question, and I don't know if I'm thinking about this right, but I'm trying to wrestle with the idea of summing up all of the expected goals throughout a possession and the impact that would have on the results. Because if a possession has 10 events, but it leads to the same shot, that'll have naturally a higher expected goals than a possession that has only 3 events that leads to the same shot. Because you're counting every event as like I think the summing part of it is what I'm struggling to deal with. So do you have any insights on that?
Yeah, I decided to sum the expected goals of the possessions because you can have possessions that generate multiple shots, and that's more valuable. At least that's what I thought. That's also why I looked into time of possession as well, because it's not just expected goals that you're trying to get. So by looking at time of possession, you can kind of see the control of the game that you have in that possession. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So looking at them separately does, but then I think when the relationship occurred about length of or time of possession and expected goals, that's when I started getting, worried that potentially it was the summing of expected goals that was leading to this, what I would consider an unexpected relationship. So But yeah, I think using both of them separately makes a lot of sense. So it does answer.
So I realized that you and many of the other papers are using some sort of expected goal model. And I don't know, like which model are you using? Where does it come from? Or is there enough data in the data set that you're using a sports logic expected goals model?
I'm not sure which model it is in the data set. It just has expected goals. So I'm assuming it's something that SportLogic has developed.
Good. Yeah, that's what I assumed because nobody was talking about it. So thank you.
Just maybe a suggestion for like or like future work on this. I think you split the events into like carries, puck protections, and controlled entries. Like personally, I would consider all of them sort of carries because like the only difference between like a regular carry and like a puck protection is that I believe in SportLogic's data is that with a puck protection, there's like an opponent actually there trying to take the puck away from you, which I mean that also explains like the negative impact it has. So yeah, I think like if you sum all these up together, that I think that could be an interesting spin on it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I never thought about that. It'd make things a little bit more even because a lot of the events were passing, so there's a lot of data for that. Uh, there was a little bit less for carry, and then puck protect and controlled entry had even less data points. So combining them all would be something good to look at.
Yeah, I think you end up with a little bit of bias in just how the events are defined anyway, because like obviously like a controlled entry is a carry, but with someone who immediately has a chance to sort of re-enter the zone, whereas all of the other carries and puck protections are probably just like they I assume the player would re-enter the zone immediately if he had the opportunity. So I think you're sort of like that sort of comes to a point where you're sort of mixing the intent and what is actually possible.
Thanks.
So you talked a little bit about, or not even a little bit, you talked about the relationship between where the possession starts and the expected threat of the possession. But in hockey, like because possession is so fluid, you don't really get to decide, I guess, where the possession starts. It's kind of just where you're able to intercept the puck, or maybe if the other team dumps it in, that's wherever you retrieve it is where the possession starts. So I guess there isn't like an easy way around that, but do you have any ideas of sort of how to maybe go a different way about it? Maybe you can look at like if the play starts in the defensive zone, where are they making the first pass to the neutral zone? Or if they get the puck in the neutral zone, maybe where is that first pass going to? Like, do you have any ideas of maybe how to work around that?
Uh, that wasn't really what my focus for this was. What I wanted to sort of provide with this research is some insights into players where when you start the possession, based on where you are, what you should do. So it doesn't matter, you're not trying to focus on, I want to start my possession here, or I want to start my possession here. It's when you get the puck, based on where you are, if you're at your blue line or the opponent's blue line, what should your players do?
Okay, I see. That makes sense. Thank you.